Undisputed.
Jimmy Butler gets a little revenge on his former team. Hi there, everybody. Happy TGIF and welcome into Undisputed. I'm Jen Hale here alongside Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Hi, guys.
Goodbye, Harry. You wasn't choose somebody over Shannon Sharp? That's what I was going to say. You chose him over me, Skip Bayless?
Oh, I thought you'd want to talk about the second game. You realize you got me on the second game because silly me, I had no idea that Chris Paul was going to turn into Chris Paul. He's been Chris Paul for about 4 games now. I don't know what happened to Chris Paul.
Book was bad, too, though.
Huh?
Oh, you see old Baby Bird?
Baby Bird?
Baby Bird did it to you again.
Did you see these numbers?
Yeah, 33, 11, and 9.
Huh?
You see those?
Yeah, did you see how many shots he missed?
No, don't worry about it. See, there you go. See, you.
Well, that's all he does is miss shots.
Okay.
All right, here we go again.
You better hope he don't.
Yeah.
You better hope he miss on Sunday.
Y'all are loving life with these NBA playoffs, aren't we all? Okay, let's dive in. Joel Embiid and the 76ers eliminated after last night's 99-90 loss to the Heat in Philly. James Harden scored 11 points in 43 minutes, and guess what? Did not score at all in the second half, going 0 for 2 from the field. Shannon, how do you explain Harden only taking 2 shots in the second half last night?
Well, Skip, we've seen these type of performances from James Harden before. Against your San Antonio Spurs, without Kawhi Leonard and Tony Parker, he was 2 of 11. He took 2 shots in the first half.
That was a closeout Game 6 at Houston.
At Houston.
Yes,
okay, what about 2 for 11 with 12 turnovers in Game 5 in an elimination game in 2015? We've never seen a superstar of James Harden ilk have a bigger decline from regular season to postseason on a consistent basis. Now, we've seen superstars not come up big in the postseason compared to the regular season, but nothing like this on a consistent basis. He's never been the James Harden postseason like he's been James Harden the regular season, and he's had some epic regular seasons, 36 points a game, 34 points a game, 32 points a game in a season. But come playoff time, for whatever reason, he's never been that guy. And his best chance to get there was when Chris Paul was with him, and Chris Paul got injured. And then the next year, for whatever reason, they fell completely out, and Chris Paul was gone. But Skip, at some point in time, we're going to have to accept this is who James Harden is in the postseason. We keep trying to find excuses and try to find, well, what happened? What happened? How many times do you ask what's happened when you've seen it over and over before you realize what's happening is going to continue to happen because this is who the guy is? And what's so sad about it is that we're going to talk about James Harden and we're going to let Joel Embiid skate. Joel Embiid was off for the last 2 games.
He was. Well, at least he's got some excuses. I'm going to give him 2 valid excuses.
Maybe 3 with the back.
Okay.
But Skip, I can't explain it. And then for me, what really rubbed me the wrong way, Skip, is that this man got up there and they asked him what transpired in the second half. He said, well, you know, I passed the ball and I didn't get it back.
Didn't get it back. Interesting.
Really, James Harden? You the point guard. At some point in time, Skip, Tyrese Maxey was really, if you take Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey was their best player. You cannot win with Tyrese Maxey as your best player. He's a good player, and he's getting better and better by the year. But he was their best player. That can't happen. Tobias Harris, we're going to let him skate because James Harden was such a... I don't even think James was a disappointment. Because, Skip, you can't get disappointed if the expectations are, well, damn, we've seen James Harden do this before.
Agreed.
How you have expectations when you've seen the person do it? It seems to me you'd be more disappointed if the guy did something you didn't expect. This is who he is now, Skip. And at some point in time, James Harden going to say, you know what? You've done it your way, James. With the access that you have. I saw James Harden is like, he's the top 5 with money. Endorsement, Skip, and salary. So he can have a full-time chef. He can have a full-time trainer if he so desires. At some point in time, when them rappers and entertainers you hanging with and they hanging out to 5 or 6, they can sleep all day. They get to do this till they're 50. Snoop still performing. Snoop about to be 50. LL can get on the stage. I see a lot of these groups, Skip, these guys in their 50s and 60s. You realize, James Harden, as an athlete, you don't have that kind of shelf life? Bro, get your butt in the gym and stop hanging out in the clubs and stop trying to do it both ends of the, burn both ends of the candles because you see it. Skip, that's what happens. And I hate to say this, but he's almost like a guy like Iverson that did not take care of himself in the offseason and didn't train properly.
Yep.
And when it happens, Skip, when that snowball's on the hill and you push it, it's gone. And we see this thing, we've seen James Harden decline so quickly. I mean, that step back, he need to throw that thing in the trash. He can't get by people. I mean, he tried like 5 times to get by Oladipo. Even after Oladipo reached, he couldn't teach him. Skip, it was bad last night. And like I said, we're going to let some other guys off the hook because James Harden looked so trash last night.
Yep.
But Skip, I'm done with it. I thought this was going to be, Jay going to be motivated. Ooh. Skip, he looked so disinterested last night. Skip, and I don't like to say people because it's a closeout game, and I don't want to put that tag on that man. But Skip, it's hard for me someone to convince me that James Harden gave a damn about that game last night.
By the way, one quick, if you'll allow, white music reference. You realize Mick Jagger still owns the stage at 75 or whatever.
Yes,
okay,
the Stones.
Right. Yes, thank you. All right, back to James Harden. As the night progressed last night, I got bombarded with texts from lots of people, friends of mine in my little inner circle, some of whom you know. Can you believe James Harden? What is wrong with him? With suggestions of there must be something going on off the court with him. I kept replying. I should have had just one reply, one standard reply. How are you surprised by this? Because I've been saying this on this show now for several years.
Right.
Because I'm going to remind you, a year ago, he got the ultimate injury excuse in games 6 and 7 against the soon-to-be champion Milwaukee Bucks when he was a net alongside Kevin Durant, who was putting up masterpiece performances. And it went all the way to game 7. And in games 6 and 7, he shot 5 of 18 from 3. And we kept saying, yeah, but his hamstrings pulled, his hamstrings pulled, his hamstrings pulled. He's pulled. He's washed. He's defunct. He fell off the cliff.
Right.
And I'm going to have to call you on one point before we proceed. You did love this trade.
I did.
Okay.
Because I said, Skip, you know how motivated old skinny James going to get?
Now he looks like just another Jim Harden. He's just some guy named Jim. That's what he looks like to me. But before I proceed, I just one play stuck in my mind in my crawl last night where I just sat back and I said, that's it right there, washed. And it came with about 10 minutes left in the game, and they were about to be cooked anyway. But this is all, he gets the switch on to Bam. The ball goes back to him.
That's the way. That's Oladipo. That's Oladipo right there sitting in the chair.
I'm sorry. This is Oladipo.
Yeah, that's Oladipo sitting in the chair on him.
This is it. Bam got the ball.
Yeah,
Bam got the ball. Okay.
He tried to go behind his back.
And then he gets it was supposed to be a lob dunk, but he barely made it. But the point is, he's trying. He just can't get a step on him.
Nope.
There's no crossover step. There's no behind the back step. There's no this or that step. There was a time when you sat in that chair and I sat in this chair back in 2018, 2019, where we were rhapsodizing about James Harden has revolutionized basketball from the perimeter. We both agreed he was the most unstoppable perimeter weapon we had ever seen. Because what can you do? He steps back on you and just strokes the three like it's a free throw. And when he gets to the free throw line, he's 90%.
Yeah, there were honest and serious discussions that he was a better offensive player than Jordan. Yeah. He was a better offensive player than Kobe because he had like you said, Skip, he averaged had like 20, 30 games where he had 30 points. He was getting 50 points, 60 points, damn near triple doubles. It's like, have you seen anything like this? No.
He was so slithery into the lane. He could just slither through the lane.
Yes.
And the refs loved him, man. They just adored him because they were going to send him to the free throw line. And then he developed his, up through move. And he would he'd go shoot 3 free throws like crazy on getting fouled on 3-point shots. It was a weapon unlike any we had seen, but it was a weapon without decorations, as in championship decorations, because it became clearer and clearer he was only regular season James. He was never postseason James. Right. And the deeper they got into the postseason, the more likely it was he would just flat out shrink and disappear. And it became clear he just wanted no part of the postseason because he does not care about winning. He cares about winning MVP, and he did. In 2018, he won it. He cares about being ranked in the NBA's all-time top 75, and he is. And most people have him around 30 or so out of the 75.
Right.
He's good to go. He cares about making huge money, and he has in his career. He has made huge money, and he will continue to make huge money. If he wants to opt in next year, he could become a free agent.
The opt-in is $47 million, or he could do what, 5 at 250, 260?
If they want to go there, yeah.
No, Skip,
nobody's going to do that now. But yet, even last night, if you look at his what's his final stat line here? He had only 11 points, but he had 9 assists, which led both teams in assists. So as just a pure point guard, just as an orchestrator, there's value there that somebody would pay.
Not $50 million a year value.
Not that. But I'm just
Joel
saying,
Embiid summed it up.
Okay, but yeah, he said people keep expecting Houston James, and that guy doesn't exist anymore. That's basically what Joel said.
Yes.
And that was about as honest as you can get, because that's the truth. He says now he's more of a playmaker, which was a euphemism for all he does is pass the basketball. Right. And he is a gifted pass. I'm going to give him that, because every once there are a couple times last